Hello everyone. So in this presentation we will discuss in detail regarding Form 17C. So Form 17C is another one of the most important documents that has to be maintained during the poll day. So today we will discuss in this presentation, we'll discuss mainly what is Form 17C, and in detail we'll discuss how to fill Form 17C point by point and how many of Form 17C is required in simultaneous election and how to pack them, and also some of the mandatory pointers regarding Form 17C that in most of the cases the polling officers or the presiding officers may forget, and also sealing and storing of Form 17C. So what is Form 17C? Uh, Form 17C is also known as a count of votes, and it is used during counting of result along with EBM and BBPAT. So this document Form 17C is one of the papers which is used along with the machines, along with control unit and the BBPAT. Hence this paper is also known as EBM papers. Other documents and report are stored in different storeroom, but Form 17C is stored along with EBM and BBPAT till the counting day. So this form is very important with regarding to counting and also the poll process. So who maintains Form 17C? So Form 17C is maintained by presiding officers. Presiding officer has to fill Form 17C on the poll day, and Form 17C contains details of polling station, and it contains the detail of vote recorded in EBM and voter turnout on the poll day, number of normal voters, number of tendered ballot voters, and number of test votes recording during the poll day. So, how to fill Form 17C? We'll discuss one by one. First, I should tell you that Form 17C consists of two parts, Part 1 and Part 2. So, Part 1, also called Account of Votes Recorded, is filled on the day of poll, and the Part 2 is filled during the counting of the polls, counting of vote casted during the counting day. So, this part will discuss only the part 1, which is pertaining to the presiding officer to be filled during the poll day. So, in the first heading, you can see election to House of People or Legislative Assembly of the state or union territory. So, you have to fill the detail which state it is of and which assembly constituency it is of. So, in here, you will fill the name of state. Here, you will fill the constituency name and number and name of polling station. See, every polling station is designated with a number which is also known as part number, and this detail you will get from the electoral roll. In electoral roll, the name of polling station and its part number is given. So that detail you have to fill here in the second row. And in the third row, you have to fill the detail of EBM and BBPAT machine. So every control unit, every ballot unit, and every BBPAT unit has their own unique IDs. So in each polling station, designated EBM and BBPAT machine are to be used. So in here you will fill the control unit number, you will fill the ballot unit number and the BBPAT unit number that you will find from the gray metal plate in the machine. So now let's come to point number 1, total number of electors assigned to the polling station. Where will you get the details from? The detail you can obtain from the electoral roll, the number of voter which are to cast vote in this particular polling station. That detail you have to fill. Suppose in the polling station where you are appointed, uh, suppose the total number of voters registered in that polling station is 200. So in the marked copy, in the electoral roll, there will be details of 200 voters. So that whatever the voter number is there in e-roll, you have to enter here in serial number, in point number 1. In point number 2, total number of voters as entered in register of voters, that is in form 17A. See, in a polling station, suppose there are 200 voters, so it's not mandatory that all the voters may turn out on that day. So in form 17A, which we call as register of voters, we keep a record of the attendance of whoever voters has turned out on that day. So that detail you have to fill in uh, row number 2. How many of the voter turned out, actually turned out on that day to cast their vote? That you have to fill in row number 2. And coming to point number 3, number of voters decided not to record votes under Rule 49A. So what is Rule 14? Sorry, not 49A, it is 49O. So what is Rule 49O of Conduct of Election Rule? This is regarding point 3, okay? So number of voters who refuse to vote under Rule 49O. So what does Rule 49O of Conduct of Election Rule says? It says that each voter has the right to decide not to vote. So you have to keep in mind that if a voter doesn't want to vote, you cannot force them to vote. That is covered in Rule 49O of the Conduct of Election Rule. So this is, suppose this is Form 17A, the Register of Voter, and suppose the first elector who came on that day is Rakesh, and the serial number in electoral roll, his serial number is 4. So you will enter as 4, and in third column you will enter the detail of identity document that he brought on that day, and he gave his signature. After following all the due process of election, Rakesh says, I will not vote. I do not wish to vote. I do not wish to cast my vote. In that case, he has the right to decide not to vote, and you cannot force that person, force that elector to vote. In such cases, what will the presiding officer do? So he will enter in the remark column, refuse to vote, and you will get his signature here in the remark column again. You will get his signature in the fourth column as well, and also you will get his signature in the remark column after entering refuse to vote. So this is about the third third point, like here, number of voters deciding not to record vote. So how many voters on that day has refused to vote? That number you will record. Suppose Rakesh was one person, and maybe there will be some more person. Suppose 5% has refused to vote on that day after entering all the details or following all the due process of election. So you will enter here 5. Okay. And coming to number 4, number of voters not allowed to vote under Rule 49M. Let's see what is Rule 49M. So this is point, we are discussing point number 4 of 17C. Rule 49M says that every voter has to maintain secrecy of voting. This is part 1, and also voting procedure. So if there is any voter who refuse to follow any of the steps, any of the procedure of voting, those person will not be allowed to vote by the presiding officer. In point 3, what we enter those who doesn't want to vote. But in point 4, you will enter those whom presiding officer did not allow to vote. So in such cases, suppose we have another voter, Ravi, and his serial number in electoral roll is 26, and he brought Aadhaar that day, Aadhaar card. So we'll get his signature. But Ravi says that I do not want to get indelible ink. So he is not following all the process of voting. In such cases, the presiding officer will not allow Ravi to cast his vote, and in the remark column will mention not allowed to vote. And whose signature will get here? Will get here the signature of presiding officer. If some elector doesn't want to vote, will get his or her signature. But if they are not following any procedure, voting procedure, we will enter the signature of presiding officer. So when you see here in form 17C, in point number 3, we will enter the number of voters who did not want to vote. And in point number 4, we'll enter the total number of voters whom on the poll day presiding officer did not allow to vote for many reasons. For example, he did not agree to put his signature in form 17A, or he did not agree to get indelible ink in his hand, in his finger, sorry. So coming to for point number 5, test votes recorded under Rule 49MA required to be deducted. So, for this, first let's understand what is test vote, and then we'll get back to this page again. So, suppose an elector comes on that day and he puts an allegation that there is a mismatch between the ballot unit and BBPAT entry. Suppose the elector has casted his vote in favor of candidate A, but he noticed, he or she noticed that the slip that was printed is of candidate B. In that cases, in such situation, what the presiding officer do? The presiding officer will obtain a written declaration from the elector, and he will make second entry in form 17A and allow the elector to cast his vote again. In normal cases, we usually maintain the secrecy of voting. So whenever an elector is in the voting compartment, no one is allowed to uh, come inside the voting compartment. But in this case, in case of test vote, we will allow the presiding officer will be there and polling agent will be there to observe if his allegation is true or not. And he will be allowed to enter his second voting. There can be two situations here. When he casts his vote again, there can be two situations. One situation one can be a BBPAT paper slip does not match with the test vote. Means his allegation was true. He casted for candidate A, but his BBPAT slip was casted in favor of candidate B. In such cases, what will the presiding officer do? Presiding officer will report the fact immediately to the RO and stop further recording of vote in that EVM, and whatever the direction RO gives, that will be followed. This is the first situation. Suppose the second situation can be when he was allowed to cast the vote again, his allegation may turn his allegation can be false. That is, he casted for candidate A and paper slip also matches with the candidate A. In these cases, what will the presiding officer do? First step is that particular person will be handed over to the police, FIR will be lodged, and the second step is the detail of his test vote will be entered in 17C, that is the one we are discussing in the point 5. So how do we enter? When that person is allowed to vote again, first we'll enter in form 17A. This is recorded by polling officer 2. Suppose let's take example of Lakshmi Relo. Lakshmi Relo was the 192nd person on that day who came to cast his vote, and her serial number is 51, suppose, and he brought EP, election photo electors photo identity card. And Lakshmi Rilo complains that the vote he had casted in ballot unit and the paper slip in BB doesn't match. In that case, she will be allowed to cast her vote again and second entry will be made. So she was actually serial number 192, but in second entry she will be given the serial number 193 and same detail will be entered, and in remark column we will enter that test vote has been casted. But in this case we will also mention in whose favor Lakshmi Rilo has casted her second vote, her test vote, and we will also get her signature, Lakshmi Rilo's signature. So, how we'll enter the detail of the candidate? We'll write the serial number of candidate and the name of candidate. So, this is how we record the test vote in Form 17C. We are only showing the fifth point that we are discussing. Let me first show you once more. Let's get back to the original form. So, this is the one we are discussing. Test both recorded under Rule 49. After understanding what is test bot, let's see. So total number of test bot to be deducted, total number and serial number of electors and in form 17A. How we'll fill this format? We'll just discuss this point number 5. So we are showing you just the point number 5, test board recorded under Rule 49A. If there is a cases of test board, how do we record in Form 17C? So there will be two rows, row A and row B. In row A, we will enter the detail of person who has recorded test board. So we'll enter Lakshmi was her serial number in Form 17A. What was the serial number? She was the 192nd voter, but test board was casted on serial number 193. So we'll enter the second serial number that we entered for her, and then here how many test board did she cast? Just one test board. So we will write one test board here. And in point number B, we will write the detail of the candidate in whose favor the test vote was casted. So, whose favor? Candidate number 4. Suppose there are 5 candidates in the polling station, 5 contesting candidate. So, and Lakshmi has casted in favor of candidate D, whose serial number is 4. So, this serial number is the serial number of candidate in ballot unit, in ballot paper, and this is the name of candidate. Suppose candidate D's name is, let's say, Tongam. Alright, so we'll write Tongam here and serial number 4. And how many vote was casted on her favor? 1 vote. So this is how we'll enter the test vote recorded. Please note that in this serial number, you will enter the second serial number, not the first serial number. And here, the serial number of the candidate in ballot paper. Okay, I hope this is clear. That was point number 5. Let's go back to the format. Yep. Okay. So this is how we feel for test vote. And coming to total vote, point number 6. Total number of votes recorded as per voting machine. So here, which one will enter? We can't enter the total number of votes recorded in BB because that the drop box of BB will be opened only during the counting day. So here, which one we enter? We'll enter the total number of vote recorded in the CU, in control unit. For point number 6, please remember the total vote recorded in control unit at the end of poll. After the poll is over, after the last elector in electoral roll is casted, we will press the total button in control unit. So whatever number that is shown in control unit, that has to be recorded here in point number 6. Now let's come to point number 7. Point number 7, whether the total number of vote as shown in against item 6. What is in item number 6? That is total number of vote recorded in control unit tallies with the total number of votes as shown against item number 2 minus number of votes decided not to record vote against item number 3 minus number of vote as against item number 4. That is, the total number of vote recorded in control unit has to be equal to total number of vote that is in form 17A. That is, what's in 17A? 17A, that's the actual voter that had turned out in the polling station on the poll day. So here you just have to write yes or no. So of course it will be yes, because total number of vote in control unit will be equal to total number of actual voter that turned out today minus how many was not allowed to vote, 3, minus how many was not allowed to vote for, and how many did not want to vote is 3. So total actual number of voter that has turned out on that day minus how many did not wish to vote minus how many was not allowed to vote. So that has to be equal to point number 6, which is the total number of voter in control unit. So in point number 7, you don't have to enter any numerical digit or numerical units. What you have to enter is yes or no, either yes or no, and the answer, of course, what you have to enter is yes, but first you have to tally it just to cross check. Now coming to point number 9, number of voters to whom tendered ballot paper were issued. So what is tendered ballot paper? So whenever an elector comes to elect to cast her vote, what the first polling officer do is they will mark diagonally with red pen. All right, they will mark diagonally with red pen, suggesting that this elector has casted her vote. But suppose one elector comes and she tells, I am Vidya Kamble, my serial number is 25. And then the presiding polling officer 1 draws a diagonal mark in her box in electoral roll, suggesting that the elector has been allowed to vote. And after some time, one person again comes and she demands that I am Vidya Kamble. What can the polling officer do in such cases? In such cases, polling officer 1 will direct this elector to the presiding officer, and the presiding officer will decide if the claim made by this second person is true or not. And the polling office if the presiding officer is satisfied that yes, this is real Vidya Kamble who came to cast her vote, and she has her proper identity card, and also there is no indelible ink in her forefinger. In such cases, the presiding officer will allow this voter to cast her vote. But point to be noted is that she will not be allowed in the EVM machine. She will be given a ballot paper, the kind of voting that we used to do before EVM machine. So that kind of voting is known as standard ballot paper voting, and the record of this standard ballot paper is not maintained in Form 17A, but in Form 17C you have to maintain in point number 9. Uh, there is three different points like receipt for use, total number of ballot paper that has been received along with the election material, that total number you have to write. And total number of ballot paper that has been issued for tender ballot, and total number of unused tender ballot. Usually in one polling station, a total number of 20 to 25 ballot papers are given for tendered ballot voting. So you will write here whatever the number is given. If there is 20 slip, you will write 20. If it's 25, you will write 25. And if there was five voters who the presiding officer allowed to vote through tender ballot, then you will write 5 and the remaining will be 15. So that is how you will have to enter. And the last part is accounts of paper seal. Point number 10. You have to maintain the account of paper seals. How many paper seals were supplied, how many were used, how many were unused, how many were damaged during use. So, this detail you have to maintain. But there's one point that has to be kept in mind. So, when we say paper seal, in election material, you'll find two kind of paper seal. One is pink paper seal, which is used for sealing of black envelopes. What does black envelope contain? It contains the BBPAT paper slip of mock poll. So there is pink paper seal, and then there is green paper seal. So this is the front view, and this is the backside view of green paper seal, and this number is the serial number of green paper seal. Each green paper seal has a serial number which the presiding officer has to note in in his or her report. So when we say paper seal in form 17C, what we mean is green paper seal. Paper seal in form 17C refers to green paper seals. Please note, it's not the pink paper seal, it's the green paper seal that we
It's
refer
8
to.
o'clock.
And green paper seal is used for sealing result section of EVM machine, result section of control unit after the mock poll. So this was about point number 10. And important pointers, uh, I think you can see here in this part, signature of polling agent. This part is really, really important, and no presiding officer should skip this part. Whoever the polling agents are present during closing of vote, everyone's signature has to be taken here. Okay. So, pointers regarding Form 17C. Separate set of Form 17C is to be prepared in case of simultaneous election. You have to 17. So there will be two set of original 17C form, one for Lok Sabha Assembly and another for State Assembly. The detail will be different in both the cases, because in Form 17C, as we have seen, we have to enter the unique ID number of control unit, ballot unit, and BBPAT. And in simultaneous election, we have two set of EVM and BBPAT. So we have to prepare two set of Form 17C. And point number two, only Form 17C of Lok Sabha is to be given to polling agent of Lok Sabha, and Form 17C of Vidhan Sabha is to be given to a polling agent for Vidhan Sabha. Please keep this in mind. You should not distribute Form 17C of Lok Sabha to the polling agent of Vidhan Sabha. Respective polling agents should be given Form 17C of respective election. So mandatory signature of polling agent present in polling station is to be taken in Form 17C, and one copy of Form 17C to be given to all polling agents present, to the polling agent of Lok Sabha, 17C of Lok Sabha, and so on. And since you have to distribute Form 17C to all the polling agents present there on the poll day, uh, you can use carbon paper to prepare multiple copies, but please remember that the original Form 17C has to be sealed and brought back to the receiving center. To the polling agent, only carbon copies of Form 17C will be distributed. Please don't forget to distribute Form 17C to the polling agent after getting their signature and the signature of presiding officer. So, here again, original copy and one additional copy to be submitted at receiving center after the poll. So, now coming to how Form 17C is sealed. In the first slide, I had told you that Form 17C packed in, is stored with the EBM machines, not with other election papers, election materials. It's stored with the EBM machines. So, while sealing the election material, at the end of the poll, you have to seal all the election materials, all the reports, the stationery used, the certificates made, the appointment letter, the seats, everything has to be sealed. So, there are total six master envelopes where you will be sealing and packing different materials. So there will be six master envelope in total for sealing of election material after the end of poll. So and Form 17C is need to be packed in package 1. Package 1 is also called as EBM papers. So package 1 will look something like this. It will be white in color and it will be master envelope, big in size. And what does this contain? This master envelope, also known as EBM paper, white in color, will contain three materials of the election. One will be BBPAT paper slip from mock poll of parliamentary election, which will be in black color envelope. Alright. Form 17C for parliamentary election in small white color envelope and presiding officer's report of 1, 2, 3 in parliamentary election. So this all we have to pack in form in package 1 white in color, and outside we will mention EVM papers for parliamentary election. But this will be different for assembly election again. So in assembly election, mostly including voter slip, the packaging materials are pink in color, but except this, except the BBPAT paper slip from mock poll. So in package 1 of EBM papers, uh, I've written white master envelope. It's pink master envelope for state assembly. We'll have pink master envelope, and this will contain three different envelope. One black color envelope which contain BBPAT paper slip from mock poll for state assembly. A second envelope pink in color, form 17C for state assembly, and third envelope also pink in color which contain presiding officer's report 1, 2 and 3 for the state assembly. This was it. Thank you so much.